what we're doing here, making these peaceful protests and showing our opinions and our opposition to the current president-elect. So let's give them a big cheer, round of applause to a veteran. Now is not the time to give up. Now is the time to buckle down. Now is the time to organize our community into an effective opposition.
All right, everyone, I didn't prepare like any speech today. I just came here to support it like you guys did. So all of this right now is about to come from my heart because this is what I really believe in. As a woman of color, as a queer woman, that my life does not matter. How does this America represent me? So I want all of you to just take a moment and reflect on everyone that's standing around you right now. And this is the America that reflects me. This love, this passion right here is what I feel matters. Not Donald Trump's election, not Donald Trump's America, but this right here. So thank you every single person that came out to support this today. This is what matters.
I want a dyke for president. I want a person with AIDS for president. And I want a gay man for vice president. I want someone with no health insurance. I want a president that had an abortion at 16. And I want a president who isn't the lesser of two evils. And I want a president who lost their last lover to AIDS, who still sees that in their eyes every time they lay down to rest, who held their lover in their arms and knew they were dying. A president who has stood in line at the clinic, at the DMV, at the welfare office, and has been unemployed and laid off and sexually harassed and gay bashed and deported. I want someone who has spent the night in the tomb and has had a cross burned on their lawn and survived rape. I want someone who has been in love and been hurt, who respects sex, who has made mistakes and learned from them. I want a black woman for president. I want someone with bad teeth, someone who has eaten hospital food, someone who cross-dresses and has done drugs and been in therapy. I want someone who has committed civil disobedience, and I want to know why this isn't possible. I want to know why we started learning somewhere down the line that a president is always a clown, always a John and never a hooker, always a boss and never a worker, always a liar, always a thief, and never caught.
Amen!
So this is a letter from a survivor of sexual assault to Donald Trump. Honestly, it really hits home for me. So here goes. To my neighbors, friends, and family, I'm the girl down the street. I am the girl that has run by your house thousands of times. Maybe we waved, smiled at each other, nodded, or exchanged pleasantries. I am the girl who went to school with your kids, or maybe babysat them from time to time. I am the girl you have seen grow from a child into a young woman. One thing you don't know is that I am a survivor. I was sexually assaulted and raped when I was living down the street by someone who believed I was an object to be had. Someone who thought that they could grab me and do what they wanted without my consent. I rarely talk about what happened, but it is important to share my story with you now since the results of the election. This election is personal for everyone, but for me, knowing that one of the choices is a man who has been accused of sexual assault and has been recorded saying he sexually assaults women is unbearable. Anyone who minimizes or normalizes sexual assault shouldn't have a chance at the presidency. I am not alone in my fear of what a Trump presidency would mean for all of us. I am asking you to think about your choice. Think about the women in your life. 1 in 5 of us are survivors. You know us. You talk to us on a daily basis. You've seen us grow up. Think about the girl down the road and other women who surround you. Think about what it would be like to look us in the eye and admit you are voting for a man who has been accused of assaulting numerous women. A man who every time we look at the screen makes the hair on our arms raise and our mouths go dry with fear. Think about how it makes us feel to hear from someone we trust that they support a man who jokes with friends about a woman as if they are an object, who believes women only hold a value based on how physically attractive he finds them to be, who promotes a culture that perpetuates and condones assault. Think about how it feels. Take a moment. Think about me, about the other women and men like me who have been victims of sexual assault and rape. Protect the future generation from being raised in a society that promotes dialogue that allows for the objectification of women. Don't support someone that will create and sustain a world where victims and survivors live in fear. Thank you.
8. That's how many transgender kids killed themselves the day after the election. 8 people in one day. Trust me when I tell you that looking at the statistics of death of transgender people is never a good thing. After all, transgender women of color are murdered at an exponentially higher rate than almost any other population in this country, and that number grows every year. But this number is so much more condensed than even that death toll. 8 lives with so much potential to burn brightly and do such wonderful things snuffed out in the name of fear and hatred. 8 people who would have made the world a better place, who would have mentored some other young trans person taken away from us before they ever had the chance to offer all they could to this beautiful and terrifying world. 8. And that's only the number recorded by popular media. That doesn't include the kids who were misgendered posthumously, the kids who attempted but did not succeed at what they perceived to be their only option to put an end to this visceral fear, the kids who walk around with tombstones on their backs every day, but somehow, from somewhere deep within them, find the strength to keep trudging along despite the extra weight. Trust me when I tell you that I can empathize completely with the 8 kids who took their lives over the past few days. We trans kids are raised in a world that tells us we're broken, we're freaks, we're predators in the making. We are raised in a world that tells us we should not exist. And now, the country that we live in, that some people consider progressive, has come together to elect officials that not only agree with these fallacies, but have the power to do something about it. I'm one of the lucky ones, you know. My parents didn't take me coming out well, per se, but they certainly didn't send me to conversion therapy, and for that, I am grateful beyond what words can express. I don't know what conversion therapy is like, but our new Vice President-elect does. Or at least, he thinks he does, well enough to move funding from HIV research and care to supporting conversion therapy. For those of you who don't know what conversion therapy is, trust me when I tell you that you do know what it is. You've heard of Pray the Gay Away camps. You've heard of people who are reformed gays turned straight by the Lord. What a lot of people don't realize is that conversion therapy, despite its misleading name, is torture. Electric shock therapy is sometimes used in conversion therapy to correct impure thoughts. People in LGBT community who go through conversion therapy are 8 times more likely to attempt suicide than those who don't. Multiply that by the 40% more likely transgender people are than any other population to attempt suicide anyway, and well, maybe you can start to understand the 8 deaths over the past few days. 8 kids. 8 kids in one day. And the men who would rather we be dead than trans haven't even taken office yet.
Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter!
My name is Megan Ramey, and I am a senior here on campus. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I just wanted to say a couple of things. I am here to show that this is not a Christian nation. This is a nation that believes in freedom of religion. I am here to show that we all deserve the right to marriage to the person that we love. I am here to show in solidarity for the environment and show that I am for no DAPL. I am here to show that we do not need to make America great again. We need to make it better. I am here to show solidarity because Black lives matter. Muslim lives matter. Trans
happened this week. Like many of you, I spent Tuesday and Wednesday crying. I could barely hold myself together. And I'm sorry. I don't know how we got to this square. But I am here to show that we can change and we can be inspired.
Yes, we can.
Fight with love! Fight with love! Fight with love! We go high!
They go low!
We go high!
They go low!
We go high!
They go low!
We go high!
This shows that our country is not great. You can sit down, be mad, be sad, but nah, let's get together, come together. Keep fighting, y'all. Thank y'all for letting me say something. Black lives matter, all lives matter. Love y'all.
I don't really know about you guys, but the last couple days I've been walking around in kind of this haze. Yeah, like it doesn't seem real what's going on, and I tune back in, I buckle down, I start to accept what's happened, and then there are other times when I'm still walking through kind of this fog, right? Yeah. But I think what's going to help is we have to recognize and acknowledge something. Donald Trump has been elected the 45th President of the United States of America. Now, I agree with you guys, but there's something else we need to remember. Right now, millions of Americans are hurting, right? We're hurting, I'm hurting, but the millions of people who voted for Donald Trump are hurting too. It would be an insult and patently wrong if we declared every Trump supporter a Klans member or a virulent racist. Some of them absolutely are, and it is our duty to call them out when they spew out that hatred. But many Americans who voted for Trump really feel that over the past 8 years, the past 10 years, the past 20 years, they've lost out on their portion of the American dream. And they wanted to be heard, so they voted for Donald Trump. And now, we're listening. It would be wise if we do not ignore what they have to say anymore, because that's how we got to where we are right now. But what Donald Trump supporters need to remember is that it is our right too to be heard. And we are going to be heard, right? That now is not the time to be sitting around complaining only on social media, bowing our heads, asking how in the world could this have happened? It happened. So now we have to be ready to get out there on day one and fight back. We have to be vigilant, we have to be prepared, we have to be articulate in why we're fighting, right? We're not fighting because we don't like that a Republican has entered office. That doesn't lead people to go and protest in Chicago and Los Angeles and New York. What we are protesting is what Donald Trump stands for and what his America stands for. The fear that Donald Trump's America instills in each of us is why we're protesting. Not the man, but the ideas. And so we have to be articulate, we have to be strong, we have to be together. I don't know if y'all saw, but at least our generation almost overwhelmingly voted for Hillary Clinton to be our president. Our generation voted for progressivism, for equality, and the understanding that every single life matters, regardless of sexual orientation, race, country of origin, or political identity. So from this point forward, we have to be organized, we have to be thoughtful, we have to listen, but we must also demand to be heard, and our demands must be for equality and for progress.
I'm a political science major, and I drove home 2 hours to go work the election, so I felt that it was important. Then I came back, so I had an exam the next day. And once I found out the results of the election, because I didn't sleep that night, I kept going in and out of shock quite a bit. You know, I couldn't believe it was real, and I needed to cool off, so I took a walk. On that walk, there's a couple of Trump supporters that were not very courteous, you know, and I experienced a lot of racial slurs being screamed at me, and I remember just feeling like I did not belong in this country anymore, and no one should feel that way. This is our country. He's not our president. And we gotta fight. And we will. And we'll win it back. Alright?
Yes. We see you, the students and community members who feel afraid because of this election, and we see who is here in solidarity with us. We would like to leave you here today with a few final thoughts.
If you wear a hijab, I will sit with you on the train. If you're trans, I will go to the bathroom with you. If you're a person of color, I will stand with you if the police stop you. If you're a person with disabilities, I will hand you my megaphone.
If you're an immigrant, I'll help you find resources. If you're a refugee, I will make sure you're welcome here. If you're a veteran, I will take up your fight. If you're LGBT, I won't let anyone electrocute you straight.
If you're a woman, I stand by your right to choose.
Yes.
If you're tired, me too. If you need a hug, I've got an infinite supply. If you need me, I'll be with you. All I ask is that you're with me too. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. We're gonna take a picture on the steps so that in some way we can kind of encapsulate this unity that we had here today and that we'll have for here on out on this campus. Thank you so much for coming. Come on out.
Alright, people are down, I guess. Also, everybody look at that
God. Thank you.